And now we head on for the last panel of Cryptocurrency World Expo 2022, talking about financial instruments in the blockchain space. The moderator, the facilitator of the discussion is joining me now. Hello, Łukasz. Łukasz Paszkiewicz, serial entrepreneur, chairman of the board of directors at Kantor.pl and Kantor.pl, alumnus of fintech studies at University of Cambridge. Łukasz, for some reason, every facilitator likes this armchair. I suppose that's because you can see everyone else. We have Sławomir Śmiarowski joining us. Hello, Sławomir. For those of you who don't remember from yesterday, Sławomir is director and main project developer at TokenX, aims at finding simple solutions to complex business problems, like all of you, I suppose, in many areas. He's an enthusiast of new technologies, math and blockchain, but most of all, their application in business. We have Bill Xing joining us online. Hopefully we already should have. Gentlemen, please feel free to sit down, no need to stand. Bill Xing should be joining us online. Let's see if we already have the connection with Bill. Bill, hi. Can you hear me?
Hey guys.
Now the control.
Yeah, very familiar.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Bill? Is it Xing or how should I pronounce it? Tell me.
It is correct.
Or it's close enough, isn't it?
Really well, actually.
Head of financial products at Bybit. Bill is head of financial products at Bybit, leading effort of researching and designing innovative instrument in both CeFi and DeFi world. Before Bybit, Bill co-founded Panda Analytics, a new YC-based crypto indexing and trading automation firm. And then there's the trickiest name to pronounce, I suppose, Alphan Göğüş. He's also with us online. Alphan, how close was I?
No, not bad, not bad. It's quite close. It's Alphan Göğüş, but it's so difficult, so I can understand. Thank you.
Regional General Manager, Huobi Global. Alphan leads Huobi Global's growth and business development across Russia, Turkey, and Ukraine to position it as a leading cryptocurrency service in these markets. Sławomir Panasiuk, the Vice President of the Management Board of KDPW, the Central Securities Depository of Poland, and KDPWCCP, the CCP Clearinghouse, Senior Manager, expert in the field of financial markets management, IT system development, and security and operational risk. Yes, applause is much deserved at the beginning of this debate. And Ben Bilski, you know Benjamin already. He's a German serial tech entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Naga Group AG, the social network for investing in cryptocurrencies and banking with more than 1 million users. Benjamin, hopefully he can also hear us. That would be a success if we have 3 online speakers connecting with us today. But, Łukasz, I suggest you start. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. At the beginning, I would like to say that we have ability to speak in both languages, English and Polish, because we have to Sławomir, so as you wish, and because everything is translated to all of to the audience and also to our panelists. I think that at the beginning, when we start to talk, I think that the crucial thing, a very interesting thing, is with our title, Financial Instruments in Blockchain Space. And here we have a gentleman from, I can see, not only from 2 sides or 2 words, but maybe sometimes 3 words. What I mean, we have Mr. Sławomir Panasiuk, who represents the Central Infrastructure Institution, so KDPW, KDPW, for the institution is responsible for the management and supervision of the depository, clearing, and settlement system to enable the trading of financial instruments in Poland. So it's crucial institutions for securities and for securities trading. So it's one side. We have Naga, which start from the regulatory business, well, because Forex and CFDs, and now go to the crypto world. And we have 3 gentlemen, one from Bybit, and from Huobi, and which is online exchange, and Sławek represents the stationary exchange services business. And the crucial point is what does it mean financial instruments here? Because from one side, financial instruments, for example, in Polish law is something what is a legal act, which is closed, we can see what is it, but here we have financial instruments as a wide picture of our sense, and this is very interesting. So, gentlemen, the first question, for example, for Bill, how centralized exchanges plan to attract new users in the context of the growing DeFi sector?
I mean, this is a really good question. So from 2020, I mean, DeFi has gained a lot of traction. We will definitely see a huge amount of users growth. And as a centralized platform, we definitely want to capture, some of those user growth. The current situation about the DeFi is still have relatively higher barrier to entry. For example, like if an individual user wants to participate in DeFi to join, let's say, some liquidity farming, he will need to set up his own wallet and manage his own private. And sometimes if he chooses to use Ethereum, he has to pay some relatively high gas fee. And all those parts are not very user-friendly and actually stop a lot of users outside of the door of DeFi. So at Bybit, across the last year, we have built this thing called a Bybit Earn, which is basically serving as a bridge between the DeFi and the CeFi. So we simplify most of the DeFi things, like the DeFi mining, some other maybe staking, and we simplify them into very user-friendly products, and that lowers the barrier for the users to entry. They could just put their asset on the platform, and then the platform will help them using those assets to execute the work. But obviously, because based on what they're gonna choose, there will be correspondent risk for certain, behavior. If you prefer some higher yield, you're probably gonna take a higher amount of risk. But in general, as a centralized exchange, we try our best to lower down the cost of entry. So that's one angle. And the other aspect is about there are so many different things happening in DeFi. There's a lot of noise, information out there. We as a centralized platform, we have done our own due diligence on those information on the project. So what the users will see inside the Bybit Earn will be something more legit or more qualified. So that will be also actual stuff that we use to attract the users, because we don't want the user when they first want to get into DeFi and they got scammed. That will be a very bad experience and also a bad thing for the industry. So I think in summary, those are the two values that we bring to the users, and also the plans that we also want to get those users as well.
Okay, and Sławek, from your point of view, can you add something to this question?
So in general, I agree with Bill. I would go even deeper. So we all here know how to use cryptocurrencies, and yet we see the difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges. I already said yesterday that there's roughly 92% people that might be interested in crypto and are not using it yet. And the knowledge gap is basically the main reason that they're not using it. I believe that centralized exchanges or services, like on-the-ground services to purchase crypto, will be the first step of everyone towards blockchain. And this is the place where many of the new users will start their journey in cryptocurrencies. So this is one aspect, and the second aspect, which is also very important, is that those two spaces, so blockchain space and let's call it traditional economy space, actually cannot exist as two separate worlds. They do connect, and at some point they need to realize that they need to work together and to accept each other in some way, which means accepting some of the regulations by the crypto space. And the regulations, so the regulatory point of view is available mostly in the centralized exchanges. So to fall under some regulations, you need to be localized somewhere. So this will be some advantage to many new users, especially corporate ones.
Okay. Panie Sławku, pytanie takie.
Sławek, I have a question to you. You as KDPW, you are a shareholder in the National Bank of Poland and others. And what do you think about the challenges on this market and about digital assets? Yes, obviously, we have been observing this market for a long time now. And on the one hand, I'm an IT engineer by education. I've worked in IT in practice as well and took part in several projects. For this reason, I'm a huge enthusiast on digitization and all sorts of solutions that make our lives easier. So, of course, we are naturally interested in digital assets. Very often, public servants or lawyers associate digital assets with cryptocurrencies or this kind of assets who are not clearly defined. When we talk about crypto assets, we are mostly talking about digital assets. The IT part of me tells me that yes, the challenges are there, but also huge opportunities in connection with issuing, trading, and using these assets. And then there is the business half of my person, because in my company I'm also in charge of operations. Luckily, I'm not in charge of the legal aspect, but on a daily basis, I do have to deal with regulatory. And this business half of me tells me that these two parts, traditional and digital, have to come together at some point. They have to approach each other so that we don't have to deal with regulatory arbitration. The regulations governing traditional and digital assets, well, should they be similar? I would be happy if, of course, for digital assets, the regulations would be less intense, while ensuring the necessary level of safety and security, of course. And by the way, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this conference, because I have had many interesting presentations and about many interesting problems today. Without introducing the right regulations for both areas of the economy, of the financial market, we will continue struggling with problems. There will be problems with opening accounts. There will be problems with transferring value. There will be problems with valuation. It seems to me that we need some organization here. But going back to KPW, we are a service company for the investment market. Investment banks are our customer, our clients. We don't take individual clients. We do have some, but it's a limited number. And our services are mostly based on IT solutions. For many years now, we have been introducing digitization to all our services on all levels. For this reason, in terms of technology, we are not far away from. Well, you do have blockchain-based products, right? Well, as regards blockchain, we introduced 2 such products back in 2017, and at some point we realized that the hype was over, that there was not enough demand for blockchain solutions. Let me give you a simple example of what we introduced back then. Thank you for reminding me. So we introduced the possibility to vote during our General Assembly using blockchain. Today we had about different solutions of tokenization that would facilitate voting while riding your bike. Well, I don't know about bicycle, but right now you can cast your vote using smartphones. Do you think it's a popular solution? We have around more than 1,000 companies listed on a stock exchange on New Connect, and maybe we had 7, 8, or 10 cases of such votes taken during the General Assembly. There is no demand, there is no interest among the investors. They don't put pressure on companies. On the other hand, probably companies do not really want most of the investors to be present at the assembly and vote. And there is another problem I see here. It is a problem of mentality, of mindset. You live in the digital world, but there are many people who have a problem downloading an app or with digital identification, remembering the passwords, using two-step verification. They don't want to think about it, they don't want to deal with it, even though such voting doesn't cost you anything. However, the demand was not high. The second product we have is more simple, and it is in use. It is also based on blockchain, and it is about voting, but not during the General Assembly, but this is for management boards and supervisory boards without the need to be all in one room. We believed that we will go forward with it. We only picked these 2 products, believing that it will expand. So we have a team that's familiar with the technology, that's capable of creating and developing new solutions, and we are just waiting for the moment when we will be able to truly use it to deliver token-based digital instruments. And this is where we have a problem. First of all, we need a regulatory solution that defines what a token is and all barriers connected to trading and valuation and transferring value, and the treatment of a token as a financial instrument must be removed. So this is what I said in the beginning, right? Yes, I think we will have some time later to talk about this and more. Thank you very much.
I have a question regarding to the trends in usage of particular financial instruments that are available in the market. Hello? Alphan?
Oops, sorry.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I had a question regarding to the trends in the usage of particular financial instruments that are available in the market.
Yeah.
What are the new trends?
Sure, but before that, I also want to share a couple of comments about the decentralized and centralized platforms. I think there's a couple of things that needs to be underlined. The first thing that is important is, we're all from the crypto community. We are following up the measures very closely, and we are in it. So everything that we are speaking about is something that we are really used to. But when you also think about the mass population, I think there is a long way for centralized exchanges and even a further way for decentralized exchanges. What I'm trying to say is, yes, decentralized exchanges are very important. I mean, decentralized DeFi is very important. I made a speech about 2 hours ago about the crypto banking, and obviously DeFi is one of the core elements under this topic. But I would like to underline that I think when you think about the whole population in Europe, in the United States, there is a very long journey that the mass population that needs to go through to really understand the structure. And DeFi, decentralized exchanges, is even something that needs more time. One of the keywords the phrases that we are also saying is about becoming on your own bank, which needs a certain responsibility for users to keep your own private keys. You know, having that little button, like forget my password, is something very valuable for mass market. So I'm trying to say that this is very valuable for new beginners, and the second issue is the second matter why centralized exchanges still has a long way to go and process is the fiat on-ramp capabilities. And obviously compliance will be one of the core things that we will be talking about. Therefore, I think I should say that, you know, in the non-existence, I mean, it will be even harder for regulating decentralized world, the DeFi. So just a couple of words to share my opinion, because I think that's something that is very, you know, I mean, that's my very, very basic, simple way of explanation about what I am thinking about. In terms of trends, I think the standard cryptocurrency exchange, running a cryptocurrency exchange, was something very popular and big at the years 2016 to 2020. But I'm seeing that there are new areas that are much more valuable, and where the service providers are able to differentiate themselves, like asset management, custodian services, payment structures, and lending and borrowing services. I think in terms of functionality, these four elements are the main trends that the markets are going. And I'm also seeing that the major exchanges are also prioritizing those topics to differentiate and compete against the competitors. And this is about the product, this is about the technology, but also the market conditions are also affecting the need for different services and products. Some people argue that we are in bear markets, some people do not. I mean, I don't want to get into this discussion, but it's also, the market conditions are also changing user preferences, like focusing, I mean, if it's going to be a bear market, I'll be expecting more focus on leveraged products, synthetic products, and for those traders for those that wants to make money with their funds, available funds, and for those that are long-term investors, probably creating incentive, creating passive income will be the key trends for those individuals. So yeah, I think I replied to all your questions.
Okay,
I hope that was helpful.
Okay, thank you very much. So the question for all gentlemen. So what do you think? What is some role, and what kind of role is there on the centralized exchanges in crypto adoption? Maybe Sławek, if you would like to start, tell how you see it.
So again, basically that's what we already discussed, and that's what Bill mentioned. Centralized exchanges are a lot closer to the user, to new user, to people that haven't been in touch with crypto really, than decentralized exchanges. Mm-hmm. And that's I think that's the main gateway for new users, through which the users will come. What's more, when the regulations and compliance will be closing down on everything that has something in touch with crypto fiat exchange. Mm-hmm. This will be the part where centralized exchange will have more to say, and even further, decentralized exchanges have certain flair and certain appeal to users that are highly tech capable. If we want to go out of the, let's say, crypto bubble that exists now and reach out to really, really vast market, we will need to think of people that are less tech savvy, and this will be available mostly via centralized exchanges. Or on-the-ground services. I think that the DeFi market will remain more open to, let's say, better technologically, so more technologically advanced clients.
Okay. And Bill, Alphan, would you like to add something about this? The role of this crypto exchanges in adoption?
Yeah, sure. Just maybe a quick point from my side. I think for the vast majority to actually, adopt the crypto and start using it, there has to be a very robust on-ramp and off-ramp system. And this functionality, this part, has mainly been taken by the centralized exchanges. And they have done a pretty good job, just onboarding new users. And also, people still need to live a life, and they need to pay their bills. They also need fiat. So crypto or fiat is not like a 0-1 type of choice for most people. So it's important to have the gateway out there to smooth out this, entire procedure. But in general, like for this question, I feel like the duty of centralized exchanges like Bybit, we're just trying to lower all the barriers to entry from every single aspect for the users. Providing more information and investor educations. And also on the product side, just making it very user-friendly so that like from different age groups of users, they could still find using it not hard. That's, like in contrast to a lot of the DeFi projects out there. They're just, for the tech guys or for the real geeky people, but not really for the vast majority. But centralized exchange to serving as a bridge, to fill in this gap. For normal users, they could still participate the upside of this growth. So I think that's kind of my takeaway on this.
Okay. Alphan? Some comments?
I think Bill summarized well. There are just a couple of other topics that I want to add. Probably education is the one of the most important things. Not only the investors and users, but also the regulators. I think that's something very important. It's also the ecosystem. I mean, the SECs are also creating incubation centers and supporting the engineers to come up with new projects, new ways of doing business. So supporting the community, the users and regulators, and providing education services is probably one of the main things. And the second thing is giving a smooth, frictionless UX. That's something very important because for a new person that is interested in cryptocurrency must see a very smooth user experience because it's already something very that comes with many question marks. So better to make it feel comfortable. I think these are the main things that I can add to what Bill had just said.
Okay, thank you very much. I see that our time is coming to the end. Łukasz, am I right? Yes, that our time is coming to the end. So I think that, thank you very much for gentlemen, but I would like to tell us at the end that I think the same this is that you are here and we invite Mr. Sławomir Panasiuk, so also here it means that these two words will cooperate together and the crypto and digital assets will use also the traditional
sorry to interrupt. You still have like 8 minutes, so if you...
yes, okay, sorry, yeah, okay. And this is what I'm thinking. When you have an additional 8 minutes, I would like to ask also about what do you think about some described or EU regulatory changes in recent years, how it looks when you compare versus crypto adoption via centralized platforms, because we know that it should change, and it's changing a lot, and we know that even when we have the new crypto business, everything should be on the ground or traditional banking system, sometimes especially when we exchange crypto to fiat. So this is also open question. I think that maybe może panie Sławku.
To znaczy rzeczywiście my z zainteresowaniem obserwujemy I bierzemy udział w
much interest that we are taking part in the consultations on regulations in digital finance package at the level of the European Union. It is so because that's a gateway for us to enter this market. The regulations are not going to hamper us, they will make us fly. Among these regulations, there is DORA regulation concerning digital resilience. It is very important. It is going to make the EU approach to cybersecurity even more coherent. Now, this approach is different. Everyone is paying costs. In this light, this initiative appears to be very, very, very needed. In the face of pandemic, in the face of war, cybersecurity is of utmost importance. Therefore, for digital assets, due diligence is also necessary. Marketing crypto assets is important as it is helpful for entities from the traditional market to enter the crypto assets market. Regulations are far from excellent, but this is a starting point. They will make it legal to act in this domain. As I look at it, maybe these regulations are not going to be open to all the entities. They may be restrictive, but there's one example that speaks to the favor of these solutions. We've got our experiences in the traditional market. If you want to have an investment fund on the traditional market, some capital is needed, be it a few million zlotys, just to trade capital, trade assets of a dozen or hundreds million zlotys. I can't quite see the crypto assets market with millions that intermediaries won't have capital, won't have any capital threshold. Because if that's the case, regulatory arbitrage would be somewhat needed. So if no track record, no credit line with an investment company, there are very tangible, very concrete requirements. This credit line has to be secure, and you need to have cash, you need to have equity. So, I believe restrictions are more than necessary. What are they more than necessary? Yes, we need freedom, no regulations whatsoever, no regulations for this market. These are the circulating postulates. But we've got our own experiences from non-regulated investments or instruments. Where do investors who lose resort to? They come to me, whereas we've got nothing to do with it. You're not our customer. And this instrument is not regulated. And they come to the Financial Supervision Authority, then this authority may say this or that, but this is difficult as news already surface. Maybe somebody did not regulate something, or maybe it needed to be regulated. And so, such stories begin. I lost 10,000 zlotys, 20,000 zlotys. It had to be regulated. So these are very negative examples for investors and for the others. But regulations are here for difficult times. In good times, there are barriers. I don't like them too. But law and regulations are meant for worse times. Coming back to EU regulations, I do hope that these regulations are going to come into force regarding cryptocurrencies. We've got a pilot regime which help develop exchanges for crypto assets or digital assets. And such proposals are far from perfect, as they hamper the size or scale of assets to be issued, but first steps are already made. We have no problems with using blockchain technologies. What we find problematic is how to start it off business-wise and how to maneuver here legal-wise. Now we are analyzing these regulations. These regulations are to come into force in a year from now. We are going to enter the area of digital assets, and our solutions we'll create solutions that will be most to our favor. Hopefully we'll cooperate with the banks, we'll cooperate with the investment companies, should it be needed. But coming back to regulations, I hope for some breakthrough. Such customers of central registers will be natural persons, and that's going to be a breakthrough. Now, if you want to be a participant of the central register, you need to either to be an investment company or a bank. This is a great obstacle. It generates cost. A novel solution to that will create a situation in which banks can be our customers, but our customers can equally be natural persons. Upon approval on the part of the supervision authority, not regulated, because the parliament is the regulator, and the national supervision authority is the supervision authority, and upon its approval, people with such properties can be ultimately customers. So hopefully in 2 years from now, such entities as ours can be active on this market. We'll work together so that digital asset market is to become more attractive. I quite disagree when I hear that issues related to trustworthiness or reliability is going to be just dealt with by technology. I'm an IT engineer, and I've been working in my profession for about 20 years, but there is always a human preceding technology, and there are always companies preceding technologies. Technologies are not anonymous. Should you nourish this belief in technology as it apparently works on its own? I don't quite get it. And I believe central deposits can manage the infrastructure which will help democratize the fragment the market. And hopefully the company will be guaranteeing technology and that it should work with capital. My company, in the national deposit, we've got 1,600,000,000,000 zlotys in deposits. These are our assets, our registered assets. Our capitals are adequate for such deposits to store them. We've got IT power, and we are the greatest deposit in this part of Europe, and compared to deposits in Western Europe, we are pretty small, as they store a dozen times more assets, and their power is proportionally bigger. So I welcome these regulations, and I'm quite content about them. I hope that we can use them. Our market is not too small for such platforms to be able to be initiated.
This what Mr. Sławomir said Bill, Alphan, if you have, Sławek, but very short, please.
Okay, so if I may, my remark will be a lot more general. So basically, I am aware that the regulations that are coming will not be perfect, and I am welcoming them happily as well. So regulating this market and bringing closing the gap between traditional economy and digital assets economy is definitely something that will be needed to make the market bigger, to make it more available to ordinary people that are not on the market yet. So that's the first remark, and the second remark, they will need to evolve, and I hope they will be evolving to adapt to the vast range of what digital assets and blockchain as a technology is capable of, which is much more and which is more complex than what is offered in traditional economy.
I see that Łukasz is, that our time is has finished. Yes. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Dziękuję bardzo. Dziękuję Państwu bardzo także.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Our time is up.
You agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dziękuję.
Thank you to everyone attending the discussion online as well.